It's been revealed that Prince Andrew hosted the late ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein as well as Ghislaine Maxwell and Harvey Weinstein at the Royal Lodge, the publicly owned home where he effectively lives rent-free after he paid for.
Inside Royal Lodge, tension has reached a breaking point. Andrew Monday in Windsor and Sarah Featherston, longtime inhabitants of the Windsor estate, spanning over 20 years, now confronted the solution of their extraordinary living situation. Andrew, having lost his prince designation and been formally separated from royal duties, has reportedly withdrawn into deeper isolation, embracing silence and rigid control. Sarah confronts mounting frustration, embarrassment, and escalating worry as the residence she had depended upon for stability begins slipping away from her grasp. Stability slips away.
Reports around how Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, of course formerly known as Prince Andrew, is spending his final days at Royal Lodge, and he's said to be ranting to himself.
Their unconventional cohabitation arrangements had long captivated public attention but defied traditional expectations. Following their 1996 divorce, they maintained joint residence, preserved established patterns, and presented unified appearances publicly for many years. Sarah delivered comfort, consistency, and partnership, while Andrew furnished security, steadiness, and access to royal accommodation. They constructed an insulated environment at Royal Lodge that remained largely incomprehensible to external observers. However, years of controversy, monetary difficulties, and Andrew's for a feature of royal standing have started dismantling their delicate equilibrium. Internal household pressure has become unmistakable. Personnel reports Andrew and Sarah occupying different sections, communicating infrequently and primarily during essential dining occasions. Their exchanges are described as intense, emotionally laden, and frequently colored by apprehension about future uncertainties.
Comes next.
I don't know what's happening now. They're ranting claims. He's round there. He's had a meltdown at the manor, if you like. He's raging in the Royal Lodge. And it's probably the end of the party, former prince. Apparently what's happening, he's ranting to him.
His Sarah finds herself progressively secluded, withdrawing to her residential quarters or frequenting the property tavern, depending on personnel to extend their hours, simply to prevent complete solitude. Andrew has grown increasingly distant, more brusque, and less patient, concentrating on self-preservation as repercussions from his history finally materialize. Sarah's persistent residency at Royal Lodge extended well beyond simple friendship. The property had evolved into her foundation, providing both emotional and monetary security through a decade of turbulence. For Sarah, Royal Lodge represented far more than physical structure. It functioned as her defense barrier. Inside these boundaries, she remained protected from relentless media attention, consequences of financial errors, and perpetual public criticism that had pursued her since her marital dissolutions. These residents enabled navigation of existence in ways impossible beyond royal cycles. It provided protection, consistency, and personal identity, deeply connected to monarchy and her former duchess status. Yet, deeper hidden motivations maintained her presence. Her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, matured within Royal Lodge's influence, and Sarah's closeness to Andrew guaranteed the ability to protect their family. Standing this proximity allowed her to guide their development, provide counsel, and retain control over their public representation within household. Frequently governed by ceremonies, formalities, and royal expectation, Sarah's involvement provided stability and served as protection between her daughters and external world. Harshness, remaining near Andrew, also permitted management of delicate situations that, if revealed, might have created scandal, enabling maintenance of authority, safety, and influence unavailable elsewhere. Andrew's choice to maintain Sarah's proximity proved equally deliberate, while observers often interpreted their relationship as pure emotional. It carried profound strategic importance. Sarah possessed detailed knowledge of Andrew's personal affairs, including his associates, travel, and business activities that could prove harmful if exposed. Their interdependence operated as implicit agreements. Neither would expose the other's confidences. Through this lens, Sarah became essential, a discretion and survival partner. She supervised household operations, maintained established routines, and offered emotional stability when few others remained willing to stay close, even as family members or staff created distance. Sarah's presence provided Andrew with consistency, comprehension, and authority over time. Their relationship evolved beyond romantic connections into complex networks of faithfulness, mutual defense, and endurance. Their bond's dynamics grew intricate. Sarah's assistance exceeded domestic administration. She functioned as confidant, counselor, and reputation guardian. Andrew reciprocated by granting access and security she couldn't achieve independently. Both understood discretion's value and recognized consequences and either abandoned their carefully balanced agreements. Their codependence represented private, understanding built on practicality, necessity, and confidence, a framework invisible externally, yet vital to their continued operations within royal structures. Now, facing departure from Royal Lodge, this fragile balance begins deteriorating. The resident, once provided safety and control, no longer remains theirs, and changing circumstances forces re-evaluation of established rules. Reports indicate both Sarah and Andrew quietly pursue new romantic connections, developments suggesting tentative movement towards independence. For decades, their lives intertwined in ways outsiders barely comprehended. Now, physical separations forces, psychological division. Living Royal Lodge transcends simple relocation. It represents profound disruption of systems they spent years carefully preserving. This separation carries multiple meaningful layers. For Sarah, it means confronting existence without royal household's protective quotient, managing identity, finances, and influence in environments no longer shielded by status. For Andrew, relocation represents internal banishment, solitary retreat, and life removed from public royal involvement, where he must address past controversies and limitations of reduced authorities. The developing situations also suggest reinvention. Both prepared for lives beyond familiar structures, defining them for decade work. Ultimately, Andrew and Sarah's Royal Lodge story examines survival, loyalty, secrecy, and strategic intimacy, complexity. They're born forth through privilege and sustained by circumstances, endured testing through scandal, public examination, and time relentless progression. Their shared homes approaching end compels both to face their lives beyond their protective environment, rediscover autonomy, and confront futures no longer defined by proximity, power, or control within royal lodges' quiet corridor. Echoes of decades navigating through interconnected lives persist, testaments to unique and remarkable, if conventional, partnership. Royal Lodge itself has shifted from privilege, symbol to decay, representation. Staff experience unease, friends avoid visit, and tension permeates every space. Andrew remains hidden, Sarah paces halls anxiously, and their shared meals feature whispered discussions, extended silence, and overwhelming uncertainties for both. These arrangements' conclusion marks a life-defining chapter's close. Andrew and Sarah's Royal Lodge narrative tells of dependency, secrecy, and control, gradually yielding to time's consequences, scandal, and lost privilege. It represents the final phase of relationship built in convenience, protection, and strategic loyalty, now dissolving as each